Coming to you live. What's going on this evening? What is cracking? What is going on? We are in effect. Absolutely. No doubt. Playoff basketball is what it is. We love it. We breathe it. We need it. You can't fight it all day long. So when I see what's going on with the Celtics, when I see what's going on with Milwaukee, when I see what's going on with all of these crews, man, I'm so excited about the playoffs. No doubt about that. I'm really excited about the playoffs. So, no doubt. Guru, what's up, brother? Crazy game, man. How you running? Sauce, you in the house tonight. What's up, brother? All right. Ro, what up, Ro? No doubt. No doubt. Jose, what's up, brother? Spool, what's going on with you? Now, Keyshawn, sitting out, in addition to me saying that, which I thought that they would make quick work of them, which I did. I absolutely thought that they would make quick. Say what you said a couple of nights ago. Don't just say what I said, because you make a living at it trying to prove me wrong. So say what you said a couple of nights ago too. Don't just stop the conversation there. Before we even go into my rant or anything like that, say what you said a couple of nights ago for the people. Make sure that the people know what you said a couple of nights ago. Go ahead. We all ears. Because like I said, you make a living in trying to prove me wrong. So make sure, say what you said a couple of nights ago. In addition to what I said. How many does Dallas win? Dallas wins 4 straight now. How's that going? How's that going? That's what I thought. Hello, Jillian, dear. How are you? How are you, dear? So, nice job, y'all. All right. I don't really got a lot to talk about in my opening rant, except for the league MVP. And we already had this conversation a while ago about Joker winning the league MVP and what it is, and I didn't have a problem with it, simply because going off the league MVP, and if you're going off the numbers, this happens once every 15 years or so. So this isn't something that we're going to see. This isn't something that we're going to see moving forward. We're not. But I want to make sure that there's no misunderstanding about what it was based on. It was clearly based on the numbers. It wasn't based on anything else whatsoever. As great as a season as Joker had, it was based on the numbers. And I got no problem with that, simply because this is something that happens once in a while. This isn't something that's going on the regular, right? This isn't something that we see all the time. We see this. I'm like I said, I'm good with it happening once every 15 years. Joker had a historical season. And the guys who won the league MVP based on the numbers, they also had historic seasons, right? So when Chamberlain won it in 67, that was an historic season. Like, I hear a lot of people talking to me about how, Joker went 2,000 points and 1,000 rebounds and 500 assists. Well, just so you know, I believe Chamberlain I think he was 72 points away from, I think he was 72 or 70 points away from 2,000 points. I think he was 28 rebounds away from 2,000 rebounds, and he had over 700 assists. So Chamberlain had almost a 2,000 point, 2,000 rebound, 700 assist season, and he won the league MVP. So those are historic numbers. Same thing with Jabbar in 75, 76. Jabbar led the league in PER. Not only did he lead the league in PER, he led the league in minutes. He was second in the league in scoring. He led the league in rebounding. He led the league in blocks. He led the league in offensive win shares. He led the league in defensive win shares. He led the league in offensive plus minus. He led the league in defensive plus minus. Now, Milwaukee wasn't very good, But he did do all of those things. Fast forward about 7 years later, 6 years later, Moses Malone won it in 82. He averaged 31 and 14. I'm sorry, 31 and 15. He was incredible. And then you fast forward to Russ from 82 to 2016. Russ leads the league in scoring. He leads the league in assists. And he leads all guards in rebounding. So it was pretty impressive, right? It was pretty impressive what he did. And it was based solely on the numbers. And again, what I can't do is when you're giving it to a dude based solely on numbers, I can't fight it if it's just once in a while. But if you're giving it to him based solely on the numbers and we're doing it again next year and then we're going to do it again, that's got to be the theme moving forward. It has to be. It has to be the theme moving forward. Now, I hear a lot of logic about, Joker, his skill set is just so much more advanced than the big guys in the past, and the game is a lot faster today. I mean, I don't know if I can 100% agree with that. I mean, Chamberlain had a 55 rebound game. Team shot 140 shots. I know that sounds nuts. Team shot 140 shots. That's almost a third of the shots that they rebounded. So to be dominant in your era, I can't discount what this dude did in his era. I look at the competition back then as opposed to today, and the game is different. It's not necessarily that the player is different. The game is different. And if Chamberlain is playing today, he would have adapted to the way the game is being played today. And he would have done very similar things back then or today than what he was doing back then. So I really dig where the game is going. I'm just having a difficult time with how they put the league MVP together. Now, if this is something that's only this year and I'm not going to see this again for another 15 years, I'm cool with that. I'm absolutely cool with that. But I'm not going to be able to handle now we going strictly off the numbers when I had to watch Jordan, when I had to watch James, when I had to watch Bryant, when I had to watch Shaq, when I had to watch Iverson, when I had to watch dudes get passed over because their teams weren't winning. I got a huge problem with that. I got a huge problem with that. And I don't think that I'm going to see that going forward. But if I would, that would be the reason. Because again, I had to constantly see, God, I'm still having a difficult time with, we're in 2022, and I had to watch LeBron James from 2013 up until this point. 9 years, the dude hasn't seen a league MVP. And I'd like to think that in these last 9 years, his numbers were the best or close to the top or close to the best. And he was the best player. I'd like to think at least 7 or 8 of those 9 years. I would absolutely like to see that. I have to say that. So with that being said, if we're going off the numbers again, just this season and this season alone, and I don't see this again for another 12 to 15 years, I'm good with that. I'm absolutely good with that. So absolutely good with that. King, you're not selling me that, my man. You could try to sell me that the competition level, you're not selling me that. And you could try to, but you're not. And the reason why you can't sell it to me is simply because I had to see the tougher competition more. Joker has to see Embiid. He has to see Rudy. He has to see Cat. He has to see those guys way more back then than he would have to see them today. See, in the middle of seeing Cat, in the middle of seeing Bam, in the middle of seeing Embiid, in the middle of seeing those guys, he's got to see Detroit. In the middle of seeing those guys, he's got to see Precious Achuro. In the middle of seeing those guys, he's got to see Mo Bamba. These are the guys that he has to see in the middle of that. So he doesn't have to see the better competition. Like Chamberlain had to see Nate Thurman, and he had to see Bill Russell, and he had to see Bob Pettit. He had to see them dudes on the regular. So the notion that the competition level is better, nah, I'm good. So that's my morning, that's my afternoon rant. That's all I got for that. I want to start with my man Keyshawn, who comes in here. Keyshawn, I'd like for you, but I'm not going to talk right now. I would like for Keyshawn to explain to the people why you think Joker is winning the league MVP again next year. We're all ears to hear your logic on why Joker is winning it again next year. And what are you basing that on? I'm not going to talk. I'm all ears. I'm all ears. We'll get to the Warriors, Dominic. I promise you that. Promise you that we'll get to the Warriors. Gutter, what's up, brother? What's going on? He will have his starting cast back, and I think they'll finish first. And if you give it to him, last year, due to him having a lower seed and better numbers, him with good numbers and the number one, I don't see why. So you think that Jamal Murray, who hasn't played in an entire season, and you think that MPJ, who hasn't played an entire season, they're going to come back super sharp, and they're going to throw the Denver Nuggets right back to the top of the Western Conference. Memphis isn't going to improve. New Orleans isn't going to improve. Phoenix isn't going to improve. I already said New Orleans. Minnesota isn't going to improve. None of these teams are going to improve. In fact, Denver is the team that's going to take the biggest jump out of all of these teams. Not just them. We're talking about the Eastern Conference as well. So Boston isn't going to get better. Philly's not going to get better. Milwaukee's not going to get better. Chicago is not going to get better. None of these teams are going to get better. Denver is the team that's going to take the leap and go right to the top of the Western Conference. And they're going to be, and if they're going to take the leap right to the top of the Western Conference, and Joker is going to do the same thing that he did this season, he's going to do that next season too. I'll be willing to see that. I'd really be willing to see that. So, Well, I'm glad you mentioned that, Jeremy. And the reason why I'm glad you mentioned that is because what you saw Joker doing with the 26, 14, and 8, well, he wouldn't have that much responsibility on him if Jamal Murray was playing, if MPJ was playing, and they were healthy and they were super sharp. Is that not fair? Or is that some logic that I'm completely ridiculous in saying? Is that something that I'm saying? That's ridiculous. Because I'm having a difficult time believing that with those dudes healthy and with those dudes playing the way that they play, I'm having a difficult time with the logic that Joker is going 26, 14, and 8 again. Or if those dudes are playing like that, that means the Joker's going to have a better season. And Denver's going to be better. Anyway. Who do I think that the Lakers should get in exchange for Westbrook? Crazy game. And I heard that they're in the market with Charlotte, and the idea is Scary Terry and Gordon Hayward. And I don't mind that trade. And the reason why I don't mind that trade is simply because those contracts would be easier. Those contracts would be less difficult to move. No doubt about that. It's a lot more difficult to move $47 million one contract as opposed to two contracts. As opposed to two contracts, and in addition to these two contracts that they're trying to move, these actually are players who would be suitable. Like I don't know if Gordon Hayward is over, but I'm not sure that he's a starter on a playoff team anymore. I don't know because he can't hold up. Because he cannot hold up. So I'm having a difficult time with that logic, but I think that the Lakers run it back. I think that the Lakers, the reason why I think that they run it back is because they don't really have any assets to trade. So the logic that the Lakers are just going to pick up the telephone and go, yo, take Russell Westbrook off my hands, and teams are just going to go, yo, I bet. No. Especially considering the season that he had, he's not in high demand. He is not. I heard that Miami in a deal giving up Duncan Robinson to LA. They want to push Strauss. And I like Strauss. Absolutely. I absolutely like Strauss. No doubt. Yes, I do. I can't see him leaving. I don't think James. Well, number one, I think James is done winning NBA championships. That's number one. Number two, I can't see him leaving the Lakers. I think that he's settled out there. I think that he's got real good footing with the Lakers. Like they listen to him. For him to get on a crew and to basically have to start all over again. He'll be 38. He'll be 38 next season. So I think that his days of winning championships, I think them days is over. And I think that he's just adding to the legacy. I saw a video today. Joker will probably have extreme pressure now to win a title since almost every other back-to-back MVP has won a title except for Nash. That's not, and Jillian, I think that he would. Absolutely, I think that he would. Considering the cruise that he's on, and I just have a real difficult time listening to, Joker didn't have this and Joker didn't have that. I mean, like I said, I've mentioned this in the past. I've watched players win more with less. I don't think I'm having a difficult time believing that a third-year Charles Oakley is better than a seventh-year Aaron Gordon. I'm having a difficult time with that. I don't think Will Barton, Sam Vincent, and I think Sam Vincent when he got with Jordan in '88, I think Sam Vincent was in like year 9. Will Barton is better than him. I'm 100% confident in that. So, with that being said, I'm looking at that crew and I'm thinking to myself, for them to be in 6th place with that crew, I watched Jordan do it. I watched Olajuwon do it. I watched Dirk Nowitzki do it with Jason Terry as his second best player. They won 65 games, 66 games with Jason Terry as his second best player. And Josh Howard. So I've seen guys win. Am I out of line? Straighten me out if I said, straighten me out if I'm out of line if I said that I just lost my train of thought because Keyshawn is aggravating me with this Joker talk. I did say that. And you know what? If you took Olajuwon off the 93-94 Houston Rockets team, guess what happens to them? This is the same team that didn't make the playoffs the year before with the same crew. If you took Jordan off that 87-88 team with Charles Oakley and Sam Vincent and a rook Scottie Pippen and a rook Horace Grant, what do you think happens to them? What do you think happens to that Dallas team? If you take Dirk off that crew with Jason Terry and Eric Dampier, what do you think happens to them? They sink to the bottom too. I would like to know your logic, since we're on this subject, since you want to bring this up, I would like to know your logic on what would happen to the Cleveland Cavaliers, the 08-09 Cleveland Cavaliers, who won 66 games. Take James off that crew. How you think they're doing? Go ahead, Keyshawn, because you are the guy who wants to talk about this. And again, your whole logic is proving me wrong. So tell us what you think happens to the Cleveland Cavaliers in 08-09 that won 66 games if you take James off that crew. Go ahead. Tell everybody in here what happens to them. James, there's a difference. I'm sorry I'm laughing because that's funny, James. There's a difference between they don't make the playoffs and they don't make the playoffs at all. So, James, so what you're telling me is not only do they not make the playoffs, they're not sniffing it. Is that what you're telling me? I'm sorry I'm laughing, my man. Is that what you're telling me, James? Not only do they not make the playoffs, they're not sniffing the playoffs. Is that the logic? That's great. 12 seed. They go right to the bottom. That's great. Yo, I want to talk about this. I think we had this conversation not too long ago, guys, about the Golden State Warriors and what they look like right now. And it might be, I'm not saying that it is, but it might be fool's gold. And here's why. I'm looking at the Golden State Warriors, and so just for some context here, Steph, Clay, and Dre have been together longer than Magic, Jabbar, and Worthy. They've been together longer than Shaq and Kobe. They've been together longer than Pip and Jordan. And they haven't been together longer than Bird, McHale, and Parrish, but they're better. And these dudes been together 10 years. So we hear the name Steph, Clay, and Dre, and we automatically think 2015, 2017, 2017, right? 2016. Those Warriors teams that were dominant. That's automatically what we think. Only except that's kind of not what's going on right now. We're talking about a dude with a lot of miles on him, and Steph Curry, who's been to 5 straight NBA finals. We're talking about a dude in Steph and Klay Thompson who hasn't played in 3 months ago was the first time he stepped on an NBA floor in an actual NBA game in 2 years. He hasn't played. And Dre is in it. I think Dre has 2 more seasons tops, and then I think he goes into the booth. I think he's done. I don't think that these guys are washed. But what I do believe is they're on the other side of what they used to be. And they're way on the other side of what they used to be. Now, with that being said, the groups that they're running into, they were superior to Denver. It was clear that they were better than Denver. This Memphis team, what they're exposing is they're exposing how undisciplined Memphis actually is, and how low of a low basketball IQ that Memphis has. They aren't as, when they run up on a team that's a vet-laden team that's been to the playoffs and that has championship potential, right? When they have that, when they run up on that, you can clearly see the difference. Clearly. Now, have the Warriors been tested in this playoffs? Well, I think that they're going to be. And I think that they're going to be mightily. Because when they see this Phoenix team, I think that they're going to have their hands full. I like what Steve Kerr did before he went out of the lineup, and Mike Brown just basically carried on with it. I like what Steve Kerr did with matching athleticism. when he had Peyton II on the floor, before he got hurt, when he had Peyton II on the floor, and he had Jordan Poole on the floor, and he had Kuminga on the floor. So what we're going to do is we're going to match you guys athletically. All right, we can do that. We can absolutely match you guys athletically. Right? So in the process of matching you guys athletically, that's what's going to keep it close. And then when we get to the meat and potatoes of the game, our vets are going to close it out. I mean, I watched that Memphis team. They were winning the entire game. But we get down to the meat and potatoes of the game. We get down to crunch time where we got one pass and a shot. That's the equivalent. That's equivalent to a turnover. It's the same thing as a turnover. Getting bad shots, getting chased off the three-point line. Desmond Bane, I think he's doing a great job on Steph Curry. I think he's doing a great job on Klay Thompson. Considering that Klay just got back, I still think that Desmond Bane is doing a great job on him. And his offense has suffered. No doubt about it, his offense has suffered. And Dillon Brooks is another one. Dillon Brooks has not been, he's been out of sorts since this whole suspension thing. It's obvious because he's not playing the same now as he played in the Minnesota series. Hey, Gutter, nope. That whole Bane is hurt thing, kill it. For the people that don't know, if you step on the floor, what are you telling us? Gutter, I want to make sure I'm clear. So I won't go any further, Gutter. When you step on straighten me out. When you step on the floor, what are you telling us? Now, you ready to go. So is anybody interested in hearing me say, yo, my back hurts? No, nobody's trying to hear that. And the reason why nobody's trying to hear that is because you got on the floor. If you weren't ready to go, Embiid's got a broken face. We're not listening to, yo, he got a broken face. Nobody's listening to that. You know why? Because he stepped out here. Because he straight stepped out here. So I don't know about that, Rob. But you can make the argument for other people. But it's interesting you mentioned that. When you got into the push-up stance, what did you tell us? You told us that you was ready to go. That's what you told us. The last player to average 30 and make the All-League defensive first team was Kobe. Yep, he did that in 2007. Giannis came close this year, and in 2020, he won the MVP and the Defensive Player of the Year. Do you think he could eventually do it? You mean Giannis? I do, yeah. I don't think Giannis cares that much, though, about stuff like that anymore. I think Giannis cares more about continuously playing at a high level. I think that he cares more than anything about playing at a high level. And if he were to win the league MVP, great. But I don't think he's chasing that. If he would have win the Defensive Player of the Year, which I was surprised that he finished 6th in voting this year as Defensive Player of the Year. I was really surprised at that. I was like, damn. I had Giannis as the Defensive Player of the Year. As the Defensive Player of the Year. Who made first team all defense and averaged 30 a game since Kobe did it in 2007? I'm all ears. Would you love to hear if you saw Luka and Book had some trash talking? And I saw people online who were saying if you replace Luka with Book, Dallas wouldn't be in the playoffs. I think Luka is a better player than Book. I think Book is a better athlete, but I think Luka does more. And I think that they would have a drastic change, and they would definitely go the other way. If you took Luka off that crew and put Book on that crew, it would be completely different. It would be completely different. Absolutely, it would be. I'm not saying that they wouldn't make the playoffs. I'm thinking that it would be a lot harder, though. A lot harder. No doubt about that. King, you bugging with that one, my man. You the same one that told me that Jaren Jackson is a better defender than Giannis. You the same one that told me that. And I can't believe that you said that with a straight face. Meanwhile, when I'm watching Jaren Jackson, who fouled out almost half the series, he's fouled out almost half the playoff games that he's played in, but he a better defender than Giannis. Give me a break. There's no logic that you can give me. You told me he a better perimeter defender. Meanwhile, this dude stays fouling. He's completely and utterly undisciplined. He ain't the rebounder that Giannis is. He's not the rim protector that Giannis is, even though Jaren Jackson, I think he was in the top 5 in the league in blocks. He ain't the rim protector that Giannis is. And coming up with big plays like Giannis. No way. You're not selling me that one. That's nuts. That is nuts to say that. Absolutely. There's no way I'm going with that. Better perimeter defender than Giannis. He's completely and utterly undisciplined. He stays fouling. Well, Keyshawn, it's not the same thing because James didn't technically average 30 that year. He averaged 29.9, which really is 30. But he didn't average 30 that year. So it's technically not the same thing, I guess. But I'm glad you mentioned that, King. Because when I look at Jaren Jackson, how disciplined is he as a rim protector? A lot of the fouls that he gets, where are they coming from? A lot of the fouls that he gets, not just from being a rim protector, from being off the perimeter, being on the perimeter. You can't give me any logic. And you know why you can't give me any logic? Because number one, he's very undisciplined. That's number one. Number two, he's young, so he doesn't really know how to play defense at the pro level yet. He's getting by a lot on athleticism. He doesn't know when to pick his spots. He doesn't know how to pick his spots. He's just going after any and everything. And that's what being a young defender looks like. Now, I'm trying to figure out what you're seeing to suck you in to say that he's a better defender than Giannis. That's what I'm interested in from you. What's sucking you in to make you think that he's a better overall defender than Giannis? I forgot who that was. Because Keyshawn, that's basically what it sounds like. It sounds like Kawhi in year 3 is a better defender than LeBron James in year 9. That's kind of what this sounds like. And I'm just trying to make sense of where you're going with this. He's an all-NBA defender. What do you mean? Well, will he be an all-NBA? Will he be an all-NBA defender? Yeah. Absolutely. Will Giannis be an all-NBA defender? Yes. I think for the 4th straight year, Giannis will be an all-NBA defender. No doubt. Yes, he would. No doubt. I think so. I don't, Lode. I do not think that Luka could do it. I don't. I think that they end this series in 6. I'm actually surprised that it went this long. I had to make quick work of them. I had no idea that Chris Paul was going to play as bad as he played in those 2 games in Dallas. I had no idea that was going on. And there was no way for me to predict that the way Chris Paul was playing in the first 2 games in Phoenix, that he would basically 7 turnovers in game 3 and foul out of game 4 and barely played 20 minutes. I don't even think he played 20 minutes. Now, I understand that Monty Williams rolled the dice. But I did not expect him to play that bad. The Chris Paul that I saw last night, who was solid, their defense was more than enough to get them over the hump. And that's going to be the difference in game 6. That's definitely going to be the difference in game 6. So I would say that, Charles. I would say that if we had just started the series, that I trust in Chris Paul to choke. If we just started the series, you could probably sell me that logic. But that's not what's going on. Not at all. Six days. It's interesting, Jillian, because for the record, Dennis Rodman could score. He averaged 26 a game in college. When he got on with the Detroit Pistons, that wasn't his role. But Dennis could score. No doubt about that, he could score. Well, that from what I'm understanding, that's not what happened, though. Now, the word that I got was he was trying to hug Chris Paul's mother. And it turned into something different. It wasn't that he hit her or he swung on. No, it wasn't nothing like that. The consensus was he was trying to hug her. Now, I don't know how true that is, but that's what it was. Now, of course, I expect it to be that. Absolutely. I expect Chris Paul to do that. I would have done the same thing. Rob, you can't be serious asking me that question. LeBron James has been better in the playoffs since 2015. Yes, he has been. I don't think Kyle Lowry is over, but I think he's got maybe 2 more years left. I think he's got maybe 2. Spoo, LeBron's best season that I thought was the 12-13 season. I thought that was his best season. I thought the 17-18 season, I thought that was his best work. Kind of like Jordan. I thought Jordan's best season, I thought his best work was the 88-89 season. I thought the best version of Jordan was the 91-92 season. So Luka is the best offensive player in the world right now? Nah, I'm not buying that one, Lil Day. I picked the Bucks in 6, Lil Day. I did. I picked the Bucks in 6, and I'm standing on that. Matter of fact, since we're on that subject, aha, yes, sir. Best NBA coach of all time? You can make a case for Red Auerbach. The best NBA coach in my lifetime was Phil Jackson. Shot. King, you really got a problem with Giannis, don't you? What's your problem with Giannis, King? Let me holler at King real quick. King, what's your problem with Giannis, yo? Every time you come on here, you ain't never got nothing good to say about this dude. What's really your problem? What's your problem with Giannis? I do not feel like Pop is better all time. I don't. He's a reckless player. What does that mean, reckless? When you say reckless, what do you mean when you say reckless? Straighten me out. Because reckless can mean a number of different things. He's dirty. What suggests him? What about his game suggests that he's dirty? You saw him push Tatum. No, actually, what he did was he chased Tatum down and tried to block the dunk, and got dunked on, which happens. That's actually what happened. Now, if you don't like Giannis, I'm cool with that. I have no problem with that. But I think that there needs to be more context to it. Did anybody in here see him kick Giannis? Did anybody see Giannis kick Marcus Smart in the face? When was that? What's up, Drew? How you doing, brother? I don't remember seeing that neither, Jillian. I don't. He didn't kick him in the face. How come you're the only one talking about it then? Yeah. Trey or Ja? Trey. Mm-hmm. Well, like I said, Cameron, I got Milwaukee winning the series in 6. That's who I picked, and that's what I'm sticking with. Everybody else is lying, and I'm not one of these people who believes the masses. But I watched the game on Monday night, and I didn't see him kick anybody. I didn't see him kick him in the face. I think we will be having a conversation about somebody else in 20 years, just like we having a conversation about somebody other than Jordan. We'll be having a conversation about somebody else in 20 years, other than James. Somebody else is going to enter the conversation. And not only is somebody else going to enter the conversation, as a basketball head, you have to be open to that, right? I got to be open to that. And I mentioned this to you guys in the past that I'm not one of these dudes that's ridiculous enough to think that in 20 years from now, I'm still going to think Magic Johnson is the best point guard ever. Magic would be 20 years from now. Magic will be out of the league 50 years. No, I'm having a difficult time thinking that in the next 50 years, I'm not going to see anybody that comes along that I think is better than him, or we can have the conversation about him being better than Magic. I don't know if that's legit. I don't think Luka's going to be in the conversation, and you guys are going to roast me for this. But the reason why I don't think Luka's going to be in the conversation is because I don't think he's going to hold up. I don't. I watch Luka, and Luka doesn't suggest to me, number one, I don't think Luka loved the game. I think Luka is really good, and I think that he enjoys what the game brings. I don't think he's going to hold up, though. Luka doesn't take care of his body, and I don't think that as he gets older, he's going to continue to take care of his body. He could very well have one of those James Harden situations where he just shows up to camp and does just enough and then plays himself into shape, and then you're going to start seeing him break down a little earlier. So I don't think I can't say with 100%. What I'm seeing from Luka right now at 23 years old, he looks awesome. I don't think he's going to hold up, though. I don't. Donovan Mitchell to the Hawks for what? Well, what suggests that I don't think Luka loves the game is the fact that you got to tell him to get in shape. You didn't have to tell James to get in shape. You have to tell Bryant to get in shape. You have to tell Jordan. You didn't have to tell these guys to get in shape and to take care of their bodies. I feel the same way about James Harden. I don't think James Harden loved the game. I think that he loved what the game brought. And I just so happen to be good at it. I'm really good at it. But I don't think he loves it like that. So if I got to tell you to take care of your body, if I got to tell you, because guys like that, if I got to tell you to take care of your body, it's not that they're not serious about it. It's more, I can just show up and do this. And I don't have to do a lot with my body. I can just not realizing that, yo, you're not going to be 23 forever. You're not going to feel like this forever. So you got to take better care of your body. You got to start eating the right things. You have to. My baseball Mount Rushmore. Pete Rose. Derek Jeter. Ken Griffey. Barry Bonds. Mitchell for Collins and Hunter. If Utah were to do that, that's putting a lot on it, y'all. Al Horford loves the game, Charles. Al Horford doesn't love the game. Al Horford is the game. Absolutely, he is. And not just Al Horford loves the game, Charles. He loved the game 10 years ago. He loved the game when he showed up. Al Horford's a pro. I do my job, and I come in, I do my job, and you see what, and you see the results. Justin, I'm having a difficult time putting a dude who played 100 years ago, who didn't play against. Would Babe Ruth still be awesome today? I don't know. I think that he would, but when I think about what he did 100 years ago, almost 100 years ago, there's plenty of NBA superstars that I don't think love the game. I don't think that James Harden loved the game. I don't think that when Boogie Cousins was doing it, I don't think he loved it. I think Dennis Rodman loved it. I think KD loves it. James loves it. Westbrook loves it. But there are guys that I can tell who don't love it. I don't think Irv loves it. I don't think so. I think Irv is really good at it. Those are just a couple of guys that I could think of. Yep, Ben Simmons. I don't think he loves it. I don't. What about Jackie Robinson? I mean, he was an innovator, no doubt about that, but I don't know if he's a top 10. I don't know if he's a top 5, top 4 player all time. I love Bo Jackson. I don't like Bo Jackson. I love Bo Jackson. Bo Jackson was like a superhero to me when I was a kid. Watching him, I was in high school when he was doing it. And he was like a superhero. I don't have any pictures. No, I don't. Even though I'm a big Nolan Ryan fan. I think Leonard loves the game. I do. He's just a real quiet type of dude. That's who he is. But Leonard absolutely loves the game. Spool, my top 5 small forwards all times: James, Bird, Durant, Doc, Scotty. I think AD loves the game. I do. I don't think he's a dude who just shows up. I do not think AD just shows up. I think he loves it. Yes. Klay Thompson absolutely loves the game, no doubt. I think LaMelo loves the game. Yes. He treats it like it's a job, but I think he loves it. because he knows what's at stake here. And there are guys who are involved in the family business and they don't love it. And with the Ball family, basketball is the family business. And I think Lonzo and I think LaMelo, I think they love it. I think LaMelo is more into it than Lonzo is, though. I do believe that. Yeah, there's no way you could sell me that KD don't love the game. KD don't want to. If we could just play games and not talk to the media, and just KD would definitely do that all day, every day. It's the other stuff that makes it look like he doesn't love. He doesn't love the other stuff. He hates that. Absolutely hates that. I think Zion loves the game. Yep. I don't understand why everybody hates Russell Westbrook as much as they do. I was one of those people who was more disappointed than hated him. And the reason why is because, like, I look at Russ and I look at how great I thought he was going to be. And to see how stubborn he was and still is in changing his game, that really screwed with me, because it's what I equated to, Justin, is I equated to a girl that you meet, and this girl is so fine. She's funny. She's got a great job. She's educated, but she don't listen. She doesn't listen to a word. You tell her to go this way, she'll go that way. You tell her it's this dish, it's that dish. You tell her to do this, she'll do that. Because she's completely and utterly stubborn. And she won't listen to a word from you. And it's so disappointing, man. Because you saw the potential in you and her. That's kind of how I feel about Russ. Like, I see the potential. I really feel like Russ could have been, he's already going to be an all-time great. I think he's the first ballot Hall of Famer. He's going to be an all-time great. But I think that Russ could have been, we could have had the conversation about Russ being a top 5 point guard all time. I'm not on the fence about that. I'm not thinking maybe. I am 100% confident in that. Had he not been so stubborn, I honestly believe that we would be having a conversation about him being a top 5 point guard of all time. No doubt. Like, listen to that right there. I don't have any expectations for this organization. Then what the hell are you doing here? Why are you even here? If you don't have any expectations for where we're going, then why are you here? What are you even doing here? Does that even make any sense? Doesn't make any sense at all. Jillian, are you still here? I don't know if Jillian's still here. I think she left already. That's fine. I can get it. I can dig it. But I wouldn't say he's easily top 10. Oh, Jillian's still here. So Jillian, it's basically the same as, Jillian, you and I start dating. And in the process of us dating, you go, I don't have any expectations for our relationship. And I don't have any expectations. I don't have any expectations for our relationship. I'm just hanging out. How long you think we're gonna hang out? Right. Exactly. What are we hanging out for? Isn't this supposed to go somewhere? But me too. Isn't this supposed to go somewhere? So for a guy that you just signed or you just traded for, and you gave all of that up, for him to come in the front door and go, I don't really have any expectations for this organization. What? And can you tell us what you're doing here then? Why are you here? There's no reason for you to be here whatsoever. That's nuts to me. That is absolutely nuts. He does, because you could love something, right? You could love a game, but still, it's very similar to being a parent. Like I could love my kid and be ridiculously stubborn, where I won't listen to my kid, and my kid is trying to tell me something. Dad, you could talk to me a little differently. Dad, you could get me to do things if you spoke to me a little bit differently, or if you understood me a little bit more. Nope, I ain't listening to none of that nonsense. This is what you're going to do, and you're going to do it this way, and you're going to shut. That doesn't mean I don't love my kid, but me being stubborn and me being stuck in my ways, I'm going to end up losing my kid because they're going to they're going to completely go away. So, good to see you, brother. I'll catch you next time. Well, that's what happens, Sauce, when you're in those small markets, and in the process of you being in those small markets, they cater to you a lot. I mean, it happened in Salt Lake City. It happened in Oklahoma City. It happened with Chris Webber in Sacramento. It happens. They cater to you. So you kind of think that it's like that everywhere. I don't think any of those guys do, to be honest with you, Logan. No. I don't think any of those guys do. Take it light, Charlie Mack. Good to see you, brother. Keep hating. I don't have that hater bone in me. I'm trying to. I try to stay away from stuff like that. That's something that's the next question. Like I talked about with KD, are we seeing the beginning of the end of KD? Well, Steph Curry is 34 years old. So I think that we are on the other side of Steph Curry's greatness. No doubt about that. I do believe that. Yeah, I do believe that we're on the other side of what Steph Curry used to be. Oh, no doubt about that. We're definitely on the other side of that. No doubt. But the reason why you don't want to talk about it is because, and we've had this conversation before, guys. We're so used to seeing these guys. And, not only are we so used to seeing these guys, we're so used to seeing these guys in a certain way that when we start to see them a different way, when they start slowing down, right? When they start getting injured and things like that, we don't want to have that conversation, because now that means that our mortality is now becoming in question. So I've already said this to you guys before, and I stand on it. For my guys and gals in here who are 23, 22, 23 years old, Kevin Durant has been around since you were in the 3rd grade. Larry Bird showed up. I was in the 1st grade when Larry Bird showed up. When him and Magic showed up, I was in 1st grade. When Jordan showed up, I was in the 4th grade. And when Jordan retired in 2003, I was heartbroken, even though Mike was washed. I mean, let's call it what it really is. When Michael Jordan retired in 2003, Mike was over. I wasn't ready for him to go, though. I wasn't. I was not ready to see Jay go. I just wasn't ready for him to go yet. I wasn't. I was not ready to see him go. And even though Bryant was around, Shaq was in the league, Vince Carter, Tracy McGrady, all of these great offensive players were in the league. And Jordan was ready. Jordan was hanging them up, saying that the league was in great hands. I was very emotional. Like, Mike, I'm not ready to see you go yet, man. I'm not. And I can be honest when I tell you guys, when James hangs him up, there's going to be a lot of you that's gonna feel the same way. It's going to be a lot of you guys in here that's going to be like, damn, yo, I don't know if I'm ready to see James go. I don't know. I don't know. It is hard to see that. It's very hard, Jeremy, to watch your favorite player go this way when you're so used to seeing him like this, or like this, right? You're so used to seeing him like that when he's doing this, you're like, yo, what's going on? Well, he don't run as fast. He doesn't run as fast as he used to. He doesn't jump as high as he used to, right? So he looks different, completely different. I'm not ready to see him go neither, Zay, but I know it's coming. I do. I know it's coming. I got James sticking around for 3 more years, tops. Jillian, you are 100% correct in that. That's not your opinion. That's a fact. What are these guys going to talk? Are they going to talk about what he was? Get that out of here. Yeah. Right. Well, when he quit, now here's the other thing, Sauce, that you got to remember too, is when Jordan quit the first time, it was completely unexpected. It wasn't something that was, Jordan is washed. No. What you have to remember about Jordan when he quit was the year before that, the summer before, 3 months before that, not only did they win the NBA championship, he was only in year 9, won the league MVP, and we're all thinking they're going to do it again next year, or at least they're going to be in it. Now, mind you guys, when Jordan quit, he didn't tell us this over the summer. This was a week before the season starts, not before training camp. This was a week before the season starts. Mike gets on television and tells us, yo, I quit. I don't want to play no more. What? What do you mean you quit, Mike? You can't quit. What are you talking about? You can't quit, Mike. No way can you quit. So what are they going to talk about when James retires? I think that it's going to be like anybody, like somebody passing, like somebody not being around anymore. What they're going to do is they're going to amp up the idea of what the GOAT debate is. Because remember, if he's still around in 3 years, which I think he will be, but if he's still around in 3 years and he does what I think he's going to do, which is be a part of the 40,000 point club, 10,000 rebound, 10,000 assist club, that's going to get amped up even more. And that's all that it's going to be about, the GOAT debate. Who's the best player ever? Who's the best player ever? Meanwhile, we got a bunch of players running around in the NBA who are awesome. But they're going to talk about this guy like there's no tomorrow. He's still going to be relevant, Ian. It's just he's not going to be as relevant. He'll be more relevant when James retires because he's going to make his career off why James shouldn't be the GOAT. That's exactly what it is, Jeremy. And by the way, Jeremy, it's not James retiring after the 12-13 season. A week before the season starts in October, James gets on television and goes, I quit. I'm out. You're like, wait a minute, what? What are you talking about? You out? You can't quit? No, not now. You can't quit, yo. The second time he retired, it wasn't nearly like the first. And the reason why it wasn't nearly like the first is because we kind of saw it coming when Jerry Krause said that Phil Jackson wasn't coming back, because Phil Jackson was the linchpin. Phil Jackson was the guy who he was the straw that broke the camel's back. Them dudes wanted to play. They was not going to play for Phil. They was not going to play for Tim Floyd. They were not going to play for him. No. Phil Jackson said he was coming back, the dominoes would have all fell. Jordan would have came back. Rodman would have came back. All of them dudes would have came back. Scotty would have came back. All of them would have all come back. And now, again, Scotty wanted to, that's why Scotty left and went to Houston, because he wanted to get paid. But he would have came back if Jordan, Phil, and all of those guys were still there for one more season. Yeah, he'd have came back. Yep. Yes, we do. No doubt, Roper. Yes, we do. And not only do we look at these dudes as superheroes, we get spoiled. So to see a guy like James playing for as long as he's played at the level he's played at, we now think that that's the norm. So the guy that's 33, 34, that's going this way, we're not even paying attention to that because we're so wrapped up in James is 37 years old and he averages 30. So this guy's going to do it. This guy's going to do it, when in reality, no, they're not. James is an anomaly. James is an absolute anomaly. So we absolutely are spoiled because of that, no doubt. Scotty would have been a supermax player if he played in this era. He wouldn't have been a max player. He would have been a supermax player if he played in this era. No doubt. Literally, JB. Literally, a living legend. That's exactly who he is, a living legend. Him, not just him, Logan. Tom Brady, too. When we think about like how many guys, how many quarterbacks have played into their 40s? I remember Brett Favre playing into his 40s. He wasn't that good. He wasn't nearly that good. I watched Drew Brees play till he was almost into his 40s. Drew wasn't that good. He was still good, but he wasn't that good. Nope. It just didn't work with that Houston team. And the reason why it didn't work with that Houston team is because Scotty expected, well, number one, Lajuan and Barkley and Drex were on the other. Well, Drex was already gone. I'm sorry. Lajuan and Barkley were on the other side of their greatness. Barkley was over. In the 98, 99, Barkley was finished. I think he played 2 more. I think he played 2 more years after that, and then he retired. But Barkley was over. No doubt about that. And the chemistry didn't work because Charles was over, and he expected Scotty to carry the load. So Scotty was the youngest of all of those guys, but Scotty wasn't a number one. And the number one, which was Olajuwon, he was over. Olajuwon wasn't the same dude he was in 98 that he was in 94. So Curry on my all-time list, Boo. He is I got Curry at 14. Yeah, I got Curry at 14 all time. James, Jordan, Jabbar, Chamberlain, Russell, Magic, Bird, Duncan, Olajuwon, Diesel, Bryant, West, Oscar, Curry, Moses Malone. Well, it's interesting you mentioned that, Wayne, because Magic said he was the best player on that team. So, Charlie, I got KD. I got him at I got KD at 16? 16 or 17, I think I got KD at. Yeah. Kawhi is not a top 20 player, Jeremy. No. I think we can make the argument that he's top 30. We can definitely make the argument that Kawhi Leonard is a top 30, top 35 player, but he's not top 20. That's why I have a difficult time with, Giannis being the top 20 player. I'm thinking, wow. Wow. Of course your homies say that. They have no idea how good Bird was. That's why. No idea how good Bird was. Well, I don't rank. Here's the thing, though. Here's the thing, Spoo. I don't rank primarily off championships. That's why I don't have Curry ahead of Jerry West. That's why I don't have him ahead of Oscar Robertson. That's why I don't have him ahead of Hakeem Olajuwon. That's why I don't have him ahead of Tim Duncan. there's a lot of things that go into being an all-time great. Now, don't get me wrong. That's why Karl Malone isn't a top 10 player. If Karl Malone had won one of those championships, I think he'd be a top 5 player. We could have that conversation. He's a top 5 player. But the fact that he never won an NBA championship, that keeps him out the top 10. Definitely keeps him out the top 10. I don't think so, Scott. I don't. I'm having a different. And the reason why I say that, Scott, is because, and the reason why I say that is because if he's top 20 all time already, that means that before he won the NBA championship, he was close to the top 20. And I'm trying to figure out, and I still haven't gotten satisfactory logic on what made Giannis close to a top 20 player all time going into year 9. I think Wade is a top 30 player. I do. I think Wade's a top 25 player. Rick. Mm-hmm. I'm just saying, Justin. I'm just saying. I'm not saying. And you know how I feel about Giannis. You know exactly how I feel about Giannis, right? You know that I think Giannis is the best in the game. But going into year 9, what exactly before they won the NBA championship? What exactly did Giannis do to make me think, yo, this dude is a top 20 player all time? I'm like, damn. And if he wasn't close, does a championship and a Finals MVP catapult him from like? Because if he goes into the top 20, that means he had to be at least close. Because if he wasn't close, like how does he go from 40 to 18? That sounds super wild to me. And it's interesting you mentioned that too, Scott, because Karl Malone had 2 league MVPs too. But in year 9, at the year 9, and remember too, Scott, that Giannis hasn't been that good for that long. Like Giannis just got good he just got elite over the last 4 years. So, like I had this conversation earlier about the greatest second-round players of all times. Yo, do you know that Willis Reed, in a 4-year span, right? In a 4-year span, Willis Reed was the league MVP, and he was the Finals MVP twice. And he was first-team all-league defense in a 4-year span, right? 4-year first-team all-league defense, first-team all-league defense, first-team All-NBA, was the Finals MVP twice, and the league MVP. How are we talking about Willis today if he did that in a 4-year span? I'm pretty confident that knowing you guys, if we had a guy that was running around in the NBA who did that, I would absolutely be hearing from you guys, yo, we got to have a conversation about this dude being a top 10 player all the time. I'm certain that would happen. 100%. I would hear that from you guys. No doubt. No doubt about that. I would hear that. I'm about to go. I'm about to start watching it in a little bit. It's on right now. I'm talking to you guys and I'm watching the game at the same time. So, Was MJ not goated after the 3-peat? There was a lot of people that were saying that he was the best to ever do it. Yeah, there was a lot of people that were saying that he was the best. After they beat Phoenix, because now you're talking about, now remember, in 1993, the only team that we had seen, the only team that had done that was the Celtics, and that was 25 years earlier. We hadn't seen any. There hadn't been another team, and those guys, Russell, Havlicek, them dudes were goated. Bill Russell was goated, as the young guys would say, absolutely goated. No doubt about that. Hey James, easy with the Al Horford is Giannis's dad. Giannis had 34 and 18 in Game 4. So easy with that. Don't make it sound like he straight destroyed him. No, he didn't. I'm having a difficult time when you telling me that somebody destroyed somebody where he went, almost 30 and 20. So take it easy, brother. Please take it easy. Slow down. Slow it down. So nice job, Giannis. Just one game he went off. What do you mean just one game he went off? He went for 34 and 18 in Game 4. You're just going to completely leave out the 42-point game he had before that? What are you talking about? Come on, my man. Shot. Mm-hmm. So, guys, it's about that time for me. Wrap it up. Yeah, that's right, Justin. He only had that one good game. So, he did work in Game 3 too. I think he was 22 and 17. But let's calm down with him owning Giannis. Easy. Let's calm down with him owning him. And won. Nice job. So, as always, it's good to see you guys. I'll be back soon. But until then, take it light. Take it.